hard time turning people around from believing that the world was flat?
One, because I mean that's almost teaching someone 2 + 2 is 3, and they just go through their whole life believing that for some odd reason it works for them or whatnot, and some of those know it's 4. See, 2, 4, and you just can't prove to them for some reason.
Well, you know, it took some time to be able to accept the ways, the scientific methods of looking at our universe.
It didn't take a while for them to believe that platypus was a real animal also.
I don't know about that. That's an odd animal for sure. But if you think about it, because we structured our mental reality is structured a certain way. We grow up, we believe certain things, and then to fit something that's foreign into that, we won't accept it. If our mental framework is such a way that you try to impose something that's foreign to it, we just don't like that. We kick back, okay? Hey, it jumped back on me, didn't it? Okay. Alright, coherence theory's justification is this. We cannot know what is beyond our own beliefs, but we can adequately ascertain whether or not something is consistent with our beliefs. Okay? We cannot know what is beyond our own beliefs. You don't know, you only believe certain things. Okay, whatever your belief system is right now, that's where you're at. Now, there are certain kinds of truths that we talk about when people die, they're close to us. You know, you go through the grieving process. Anybody heard this? The first stage is what? Denial. Okay, deny. No, my husband, wife, dad, whatever, didn't just die. No, you know. And when something's a shock to someone, it just, bam, this is not real. There are some things that people find out and it just, it kind of alters your reality temporarily. I remember when my wife started having some symptoms, I knew she had cancer. I knew after I got on the, I did spend an hour in it, and I said, I know what's wrong here. And we then explained a whole lot of other things from the past. But, bam, oh, that can't be me. Oh, yes, it can be you. You can be the one that gets diagnosed with cancer. It can happen. But when those things that shock you happen, it takes some adjustment. We have to adjust our little belief system there and go, okay, this did happen to me. That stinks, but it happened to me. Okay? We cannot know what is beyond our own beliefs, but we can adequately ascertain whether or not something is consistent with our beliefs. So if you believe a certain thing about the universe, for example, if you have certain religious belief, you will not accept that there are maybe life on other planets. I say intelligent life on other planets, maybe. Or if you grew up with a certain belief system, you may not believe there is a God. Okay? And not going to allow for that. It can go either way. See what I mean? Because your belief system, the foundation is there, and you're not going to accept anything outside of that. No, don't talk to me about that stuff. Because I believe this, I cannot therefore accept that. See what I'm saying? Does that make more sense if I break it down that way? Okay. Now, justified true belief is what I was talking about earlier, the difference between, is California, do you know California is there? Do you really know California is there? Well, in order to know something, one must first believe that a proposition is true, because if you don't believe something, you do not have knowledge of it. Alright. You must first believe that a proposition is true, because if you don't believe something, you do not have knowledge of it. This is a way of, some people are saying, you cannot say that you know it if you don't believe it. And then you can flip that around. Well, but how can I believe it if I don't know it? Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Can you say you know something? I know that so-and-so died, but I don't accept that. I don't believe that. See, that's where that kind of thing comes in. Our belief system hasn't caught up with reality yet when we get in that kind of a state. So this is a way of kind of looking at that. Is can you really know something and yet not believe it? I see it, but I don't believe it. Might be another way of saying that. When the magician cuts that gal in two, and that's not real. Now a little kid might go, right? My 5-year-old will go, Mama, he cut that lady in half. You know, he doesn't know any better. It's all smoke and mirrors, you know, whatever. We know there's some sort of trick going on there. I want to know how that guy made the Statue of Liberty disappear, though. That is what I would like to know. But these are the kind of things that you know, epistemology deals with. Theories of knowledge. We've got that. I will give you a handout with my notes along with the study guide before the exam. Usually the class before the exam, no more than 2. So just so you know that. But I do want you to take notes. But you don't have to get every jot and tittle. You don't have to get every little word. Okay. All right. Secondly, about justified true belief. This belief must be true because you wouldn't believe it if it wasn't. This belief must be true because you wouldn't believe it if it wasn't. Now, but have you ever, the only problem with this, in this theory, have you ever really, really, really believed something and it didn't happen? Or it turned out that a later reality contradicted that, you know?
Santa Claus.
Yeah, I did a handwriting analysis, and then they told me anyway. I was pretty smart about it when I was a kid. I took handwriting analysis from the year before, and I was going to compare it to the next year. I kept it all year long, and then they just told me that year anyway, so they blew my whole. I'm gonna figure it out for myself, you know. Anyway, ruined my little parade. I was going to bust them. I was going to prove it because my friend already told me what I was saying, but I didn't believe him. Okay, justification is a condition to ensure that belief is not just a matter of luck, but there are reasons for this belief. So this is where the justified true belief is saying, look, you're going to have enough data there to justify why you're believing something. You're going to have enough data to justify why you're believing something. One of my favorite ones to pick on is, do you ever really know a person? Did I talk about this last time? Do you ever really know a person? You ever really know a person?
Rarely.
Yeah. Have you ever known somebody for a long time and then one day they just do something that's so, quote, out of character for them? I can't believe they did. That's not them at all. That quiet little person got up and did tabletop dance. I just, you know, whatever. I'm using these kind of things. So, okay. Augustine, a hippo, that's not an animal, that's a place over in Africa. Augustine, or St. Augustine as he's commonly called, Augustine is how it's properly pronounced. I'm not picky about pronunciation, frankly. I don't speak Latin fluently, so, you know, I'm not too worried about it if you do. He said about truth, he has a few things, and he was a medieval theologian and philosopher. Basically what Augustine did was he took Plato's philosophy, and we'll talk more about Plato later,